This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so far we talked about different things and we created a company. We posted transactions using debit credit approach. We've also posted the transactions using LTMC methodology for your legacy data transfer, which we will do as part of initial data upload for any implementation or rollout project. Now let's talk about some kind of documentation that we need to follow. Why am not just a minute. Okay, documentation to be followed. Now, first one, let's say we are doing configuration. Now, in general, in what scenarios we will be doing the configurations? First one, you will be doing in implementation projects. Second one, you will be doing it in rollout projects. Third one, you will also be doing the configurations in your support projects. In this, configuration is common activity in any of the projects. Whatever the nature of project you are working for, whether it is implementation, rollout or support, configuration is mandatory. If you do a configuration, what kind of documentation that you are going to prepare, on what basis you are going to do the configuration, let us try to understand in a practical way. Let's say I am doing implementation project. I'm doing implementation project. Now I have to do configuration. In this, let us assume that I have to do configuration for accounts payable and accounts receivable modules. I'll have to do configuration for accounts payable and accounts receivable module. What will be my approach if I am working on implementation project? Now here you are not going to think about whether you are aware of accounts payable, accounts receivable configuration. First point that you have to think about it, whether you are aware of accounts payable business process and accounts receivable business process. If you are aware of business process of AP and AR, later on you are going to think about how you are going to do configuration. Since we are talking about implementation project, before you configure accounts payable, you will have to refer certain documentation. First document that we'll have to refer is business blueprint or solution design document. In short, this is called as BBP or SDD. Nowadays, we don't call it as business blueprint, we call it as solution design document. Second one, you'll have to refer key data structures document. Third one you'll have to refer is business process master list document. Okay, these are the three initial documents that you'll have to refer before you initiate configuration when you're working for any project. Now, business blueprint will talk about what kind of points that are to be implemented in your accounts payable and what points are to be implemented from your accounts receivable. So in short, you will find their business process overview, their business process flow diagrams on the business blueprint. From that, you will have to come to KDS structure document. This is nothing but your KDS document. From the KDS document, you will come to know all the naming conventions. Let's say if you are creating accounts payable or accounts receivable, first thing that you will be creating is what? Vendor account group, correct? As part of AP or AR configuration, first thing that you will do is create vendor account groups, create customer account groups. Sorry. So to create vendor account group, to create customer account group, what do we need? Account groups, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now to create account group, you need 4-digit alphanumeric code. Now when you are configuring this account groups for any project, let's say accounts payable or accounts receivable, your business blueprint talk about the process of accounts payable. Your KDS document will talk about key data structures, which means key identifications that are to be created. What account groups you have to create? If I have to create, let's say, local vendor, foreign vendors, import vendors, or intercompany vendors, employee vendors, one-time vendors. If I have to create like this, you will get the list of vendor categories in your KDS document, and for each vendor for each vendor account group, what is the 4-digit identification you are going to create? This is predefined, and as per the discussion with the client, we are going to update these codes in the Excel sheet called KDS document. Similarly, what number range you are going to create? If I put this here, vendor account group, let's say I'll put local vendors, I'll put import vendors, I'll put third party vendors, then I'll put employee vendors, I'll say one time vendors, and intercompany vendors, and I may say intra department vendors. Let's say you have these many type of vendor categories. I'll put serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 category of vendors you are going to have. And for these, you are going to decide account group. What will be the account group for these vendors? Let's say you are going to create Z001, Z002, Z003, and so on, or any other logic. Assuming we are going to create Z001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until 7. Either you are going to create in this logic, or you are going to have any other naming convention that is predefined. We will discuss with the business at the beginning, and then we will finalize. These will be the vendor account groups that are created in SAP, and these are the identifications for each of the group that will be created. Next one, number range. What number range will be created for these kind of vendors, and what will be the length of your vendor account number? Whether you want 5-digit vendor code, 6-digit, 8-digit, maximum 10-digit. If you are going ahead with, let's say, 6-digit vendor code, what are those 6 digits? If you're talking about local vendor, I'll say local vendors starts from 1 series, 1 6-digit, 1 2 3 4 5 zeros to 1 1 2 3 4 5. This will be the number, let's say, we'll assume for local vendors. Similarly, for import, let's assume it will be 2-digit, and for third party, it will be 3 digits. For employee vendor, let's say 4 digit. For one time vendor, let's say 5 digit. For intercompany, let's assume this will be 6 digit. For intra-department, let's assume this will be 7 digit. This will be predefined and this is part of your KDS document. So you will be given business blueprint document. You will also be given KDS document. Now, looking at these two, you know how to create vendor account group. You know how to create number range for the vendor. Along with this, you will also be given a configuration document to do this setting in system. So there is no rule that you must be aware of accounts payable configuration because you will get predefined configuration documents of other projects in any organization, right? So they would have done this configuration for different other clients. So there will be different documentation available in every organization. You will be given one configuration document. Look at that configuration document, do the settings in system. Now, when I have to create these settings for accounts payable, do I have to think which account group I need to create, which code I have to take, what description I have to take, what number range I have to take, or everything is readily available with me to create on the system?
Readily available.
Everything is readily available.
Yes.
Now, first point, we will get sample configuration document. Okay, you will get sample configuration document. Second one, refer the sample configuration document and make it applicable for your client. When I say refer the sample configuration document and make it applicable for your client, there will be a specific format of any kind of a documentation in every organization. Let's say you're working for some X company. This X company will have a configuration predefined format. Open that predefined format. You have got a sample configuration document of any other client. Take that document, rename everything from the content. Let's say configuration document of client A. You change that configuration document of client B. Configuration prepared by or configuration performed or made by. Remove that previous consultant name, put your name, date, project name, you put project name, project manager name, and then if any other information is there you have to fill it up because this is standard format, standard template for all the projects that a company executes. It is only that the file content will get changed, but the information of and the format of your configuration document will remain standard. Okay, you have also got the configuration document. You will refer the existing configuration document, ensure that you copy that document, remove all the other content. When I say remove all the other content, you are supposed to remove all the screenshots alone. Configuration document is going to have step number 1 as create vendor account groups. You are going to maintain IMG path, SPRO, financial accounting, accounts payable, receivable, vendor account group creation. And then transaction code, you will put the vendor account group T code, OBD2 or OBD3, whatever it is. Below that, you are going to maintain this on SAP. When you do this on SAP,
Sir, in the real
what is
time,
the
do we have to create manually or are using the third party tool?
manually or using?
I mean, by using the third party tool, we upload these account groups.
No. This is a manual creation.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir, what is the difference between business blueprint and a key data structure document?
Business blueprint will talk about the overall business process. Key data structure will only talk about the extraction of certain key components with respect to your organization structure. All the naming conventions that you are going to create. In my business blueprint, I am going to talk about you are going to have 7 account groups for the vendor. In business blueprint, I will not be mentioning all this in detail. I may be mentioning only this part. Your business blueprint will contain only we will be having 7 account groups. In bracket you will put all this is 7. Okay, on the KDS document, these 7 account groups detailed information will be updated. What are those
So,
7 account groups? The codes, number range, any other assignments with respect to your configuration. Go ahead.
so you mean to say that business blueprint is overview? This KDS document is in detail explanation, right? Have.
Correct. Expansion of your business blueprint with respect to configuration. In
Okay.
short, the naming conventions that are to be used while doing the configuration.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's say you will come to this screen and here you will add new entries. When you create an account group, what you will do, you will come to this KDS document, similarly an Excel sheet. Copy this account group, go to SAP, put this here, Control C, Control V. Take this text, Control V. If you have any specific requirement to make any particular field as mandatory and all, you will be doing this in the field status. Otherwise, click on save. Like this, you have to save all these 7. Once you save all these 7, you have to select all these 7 from here. Let's say these are your 7 these things. When you take a screenshot, you have to be very specific. Don't take screenshot if your vendor account group starting from ZB01, this should not reflect. So what you do, either you scroll down until ZB01 appears on the top, okay, and then take a screenshot from snipping tool. And make sure you will take only to the extent of this. Okay, if these many are you have created, take screenshot until this. Put this screenshot on your configuration document below the IMG path T code. Your reference configuration document will have the similar screenshot. You are not going to change the other content of the document because it is standard. T code is not going to change, path is not going to change, name of the config heading is not going to get changed. What will be changed? It is only the screenshot that you have created on SAP. Replace that own configuration screenshot, put this new configuration screenshot related to your client. Similarly, put all these configuration settings based on your business blueprint and then key data structure. In fact, in order to perform your configuration, KDS is the key document. Okay, to do this configuration, transaction code you will have in your reference configuration document. What screenshot you will have to take, you will have in the reference configuration document. All you need to pay attention is what things you are going to create. Make sure you are not making any mistakes. It's a simple copy paste job to do configuration when you are in a project. Clear? Especially in an implementation project. Now, once this is done, complete the configuration document by attaching all relevant screenshots. Once your configuration is completed, next is what? Testing. Once your configuration is done, next is what? Testing.
Yes, sir.
Next one, perform unit testing in the development client. When you do the unit testing in the development client, what you'll have to do, first thing, copy the configuration from development 100. Let's say assume you have development 200 as testing client, development 200 client using SCC1 T code. With this, your configuration will reflect from development 100 client to the development 200 client. Once it is there, second thing that you'll have to do is refer the BPML document. Which document? BPML document. What is the full form of BPML? You've already listed here. Business process master list document. Your business process master list contains what? What will be there in the BPML document?
Master data.
This contains list of processes along with T codes. This contains what? List of processes along with the transaction code. If you are talking about accounts payable, in accounts payable, what is the list of process? I'll say it contains point number 1, vendor master creation. Now, in which T code you are going to create this vendor master creation? Either BP FK01, that will be there. Next one, vendor master change. Next one, vendor master display. After this, let's say vendor invoice posting, again vendor invoice posting, vendor payment posting, again vendor payment posting with printout, again vendor payment posting with APP, let's say vendor line item report, again vendor line item report, let's say vendor balance report, again vendor balance report. If there are multiple reports for vendor balances or vendor line items, which reports are we going to deliver to the client? If they are customer specific, which means customized report, that custom report T code. If it is any standard report, that standard report T code. Now if you see, we ended up writing around 12. These 12 are part of your BPML document. These 12 are part of your BPML document with the respective transaction code. You have to open that respective transaction code in the BPML and you have to update the status. It's like, let's say this is your process, let's say T code tested by test result and then remarks, and then you may have pass fail. I'll say I'll create vendor master. let's say BP is the T code to create vendor master. Tested by, I'll put my user ID. Test result, if I created a business partner, what is the vendor code? Let's say this is the test result. Okay, remarks. If there is any error, you'll have to put remarks. If it is pass, fail. If it is working fine, pass. For anything which is pass, there is no remark. If your client says, that will come at the time of your quality testing. But here, if you find any observations, like any controls are missing, you can update in the remarks column. Like this, you'll have to test for all this. Let's say you
Hello,
tested
sir.
vendor balance. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, it means we document for configuration separate, and we create a document for testing also separate.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say like this, you will create everything. You will go to change business partner, and then you will see that you tested the same. Remarks is okay. It is passed. Let's say you are trying to display, you are trying to change whatever. You'll have to put the result and update the comments accordingly. And this is mandatory to be done when you're in any implementation project or in any rollout project. Let's say invoice posting, F-43, you'll have to do it. If you post an invoice document, let's say if it has generated 17 series, put 17 all zeros, document number, pass, fail, pass. And another thing, FB60, document number, pass, fail, result you'll put, payment you put, F-53, F-58, plus F110, FBL1N. If there is any other report, you'll have to check, or you may also check FBL1H, FK10N. If there is any other report, you will test it. Like this, you have to test for everything and update the document like this. I'll show all these sample documents that we use in any project, and then we will update accordingly. While we are doing the configuration, I'll update sample documentation so that you will get the actual feel what exactly you will do when you are doing it in a project. So that if somebody is asking you what you have done, tell the same points that we will do. Okay. After doing all this, this is your first level of testing. Now here what you are doing, you are only checking whether this is pass or fail. Correct? Here you are updating status against every business process, whether it is working fine or not. Once this documentation is created, next thing that you'll have to do is prepare UT document. Which document? UT means unit testing document. Now here what we did, we tested, we only updated in the Excel sheet whether everything is working fine or not. After that, there will be one Word document that you'll have to create. This is again client specific, organization specific. You will find one format for unit testing document. In that unit testing document, you have to put all this. And if you have tested something, put that vendor master creation, put a screenshot that the vendor has been created. Here in this Excel, you are going to put vendor, this one has been created. But on your unit testing document, you have to put a screenshot of that particular vendor. Clear? On your unit testing document, for everything, you have to attach a screenshot. It's not that I updated in this, not fine, not going to be sufficient. Tomorrow, if somebody wants to verify that this has been tested, they will look at this. They will also look at your unit testing document, whether the relevant screenshot is attached or not. So once you do this unit testing document, next thing that you will do is user manual preparation. Now user manual preparation is again based on this BPML list. BPML talks about the business processes that are used in your client business process. If they are going to create a vendor, you have to prepare a detailed user manual. Step 1, step 2, step 3, the way you get configuration document or material on SAP Google. Correct? Everybody would have seen notes or material from the Google on SAP FICO, step-by-step screenshots. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
In the similar way, you have to prepare user manual. Let's say you are creating user manual for vendor invoice posting. T code for vendor invoice posting will be what? F-43. Take this F-43 screen, and first you have to take the empty screenshot, or you will take the filled up screenshot. It up to you. It again depends on the client that you are working for, company that you are working for. There may be different ways of preparing user manual. But what you will have to do, come here, take this screenshot on the snipping tool. Okay, take until here, or you take until here. Copy this, and then you'll have to go to paint. Okay, in paint you paste this. Once you put this on paint, you have to highlight everything. Let's say I'll take this, whatever the information that client has to fill, I'll have to highlight everything. Let's say document date, I'll put this, highlight this. Next to this, let's say I'll put 1. I'll put 1 here. Whatever the way you are comfortable, you'll have to prepare a document like this. Okay, likewise you have to highlight all the fields on the screen. Messaged. Okay, so you'll have to use either paint, or you will have different applications to be used to do this activity. So you have to highlight all this, take this screenshot, prepare a detailed user manual that you find on the Google. In the similar way, you have to prepare one for your client. You have to put all the fields, which field is mandatory, which field is optional, what is to be filled, what is not to be filled. This user manual is to be prepared for all the activities or for all the processes that are part of your BPML document. Once your user manual is created, next one, initiate user acceptance testing or UAT. Now when you do the UAT, again it is the same process. Whatever we did here, the same thing. Here you have tested as a consultant, but in the UAT session, these are tested by the user with their user ID. Here with which user ID we are testing? With consultant ID. But when it comes to UAT, it will be tested with user ID. So before you test with user ID, there is one point that you'll have to remember. User ID and roles creation. What do we mean by user ID and role creation? You will have the list of users which will be using SAP in the production system. For all those users, you will have to create the user ID, which will be taken care by the basis consultant. And then for all your finance related transactions, whatever the processes, T codes that you find on the BPML document, for all this, you have to get a role created. Okay, you have to get a role created. Now this role creation is an activity of basis team with the input of a functional team. If the roles are related to finance module, as a FICO consultant, you have to give how many roles are to be created, in which role what transaction codes are to be parked. Let's say if a user wants to create invoice posting, you need to have a role created for invoice posting. That role should have only invoice posting related transactions. And let's
Correct.
say some user wants to create payment, you have to create another role which will contain only the payment related transaction. If another user wants to execute the reports, it should have only the report related transactions. Okay, likewise, you will get this detailed requirement from your business. Now, as a consultant, it is your responsibility to discuss with the client, initiate all the requirement inputs that you want. So nothing is straightforward. You have to put in your effort, gather the information. If you know all these points well in advance, you can easily manage whatever comes in your way when you're on a project. Otherwise, we will end up getting everything as a surprise. Now, while doing the user acceptance test, make sure you are testing it with the user ID. Now, check if that user ID is supposed to create only invoice. With that user ID, if you are able to open the other transaction, let's say payment transaction, which is wrong, make a note that with this user ID, we are able to make payment screen also. So you have to remove the unwanted authorizations that are given. All these points you will have to ensure. And when you do the UAT testing, you will come to know different points. Before getting into the UAT testing, you must have prepared user manuals, circulated with the users, so that when they do UAT, they know what to do. So I cannot ask a user to come and do the testing without giving them training, without giving them the document. Am I correct?
Sir.
Right, so they must be given training, they must be given documentation. By looking at it, they will try to create some sample transaction. Now, we are talking about two testings. One is unit testing. This is done by consultant. And when we do unit testing as a consultant, random transactions will be tested. I am only going to take any vendor, any account, any report just to check whether the output is coming fine or not, because I am not going to do detailed testing in the UT. But when it comes to UAT, this will be done by user. Detailed real-time cases will be tested. Okay, if you talk about vendor creation, they will literally take a vendor with whom they are doing business. They will create the same vendor on SAP system. If they want to change, they will make changes practically which they are going to do in their SAP system. Similarly, when they post an invoice, they are not going to post to any vendor any amount. They will literally bring one invoice copy of the recent invoice. They will try to record that invoice on the SAP system. In this process, you are going to get different errors. You are going to find out different observations. Like they will tell this validation is not working, that validation is not working, system is allowing to record like this also. They will give you different points. Note down all those points and then you have to figure out what you'll have to do to resolve those problems. And for this user acceptance test also, there will be a documentation. This file will be prepared, and also you have to prepare a UAT document, a Word document with screenshots. Whatever the process that you are testing in quality system, for everything you have to prepare a screenshot and make a Word document. This is again a specific format predefined. Change the content.
Sir,
Okay.
this user ID roles creation is done by a basis consultant, right?
Basis.
Yeah, we don't have anything, right, to do.
But basis consultant will create based on your input. You'll have to give all the org elements. Which role, how many roles are needed, in which role, what transactions to be included, whether this role is to create, change, modify, or display, delete.
But could you
Okay,
please explain that, sir? How many roles will be there?
there will be more than 200 roles from finance side.
Okay. For example, sir.
Okay, for example, let's say invoice posting, I'll create a role. And in the invoice posting, let's say I want to have only F-43, FB60 transactions. Okay, there may be, let's say, another invoice posting role. This is that you may say logistic invoice posting. In that, you may include my role, or you may create single role containing all this, or there may be requirement to create two different roles. And not everybody is intended or is supposed to create the invoice, right? Sometimes I am not authorized to create invoice, but I will have to display the invoice. I have to check the invoice document.
Yes.
Now I may need another role, display invoice document. Here I will give the transaction code to display the invoice alone. Now let's say the person who creates the invoice is not supposed to change if something is wrong. To change any data from the invoice, you may need another role, change invoice document. Like this, for every process, there will be different roles you will have to create based on the business requirement. Now, on what basis you are going to create the role is based on the BPML document. Okay, it's very key document. Based on the BPML, you are going to do unit testing, you are going to prepare user manual, you are going to do UAT, you are going to prepare role metrics, roles and authorizations. Okay.
Okay, so the basic consultant role is only creating the roles.
Creation of roles, creation of a user master, system administration, scheduling background
Okay,
jobs, monitoring that system load is not high. There is a big list what a basis consultant will do. In short, they are the system administrators.
okay.
Okay.
Sir, here we saw that for the UAT test, the customer is, I mean, the user will tell us that what vendors we need to create, and based on that, they will do this UAT test, right?
Correct.
On the real time scenarios. So,
Right.
sir, as far as I read in S4 HANA in the Activate methodology, they have, I think, for the UAT, the S4 HANA is providing the predefined test scripts. So,
Correct.
what is the use of those test scripts?
Those are standard business processes that are to be executed. And from that checklist, you are going to keep the processes that are applicable for your client, and you are going to remove the processes that are not applicable for your client.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello? Yeah.
Sir, I have one question. Sir, in this testing, MM and SD logistic consultant also involved or not? I think this is vendor related testing. It means Miro we can use for vendor invoice logistic size. They also
So
involved in this
here
testing.
they will be part. Now we are talking about UAT.
Hmm.
In UAT, you are only going to test your direct finance module related transactions. After
Okay.
UAT, you will have another testing called system
Some integration
integration
testing.
testing. This is called as SIT. In this system integration testing, finance and logistics will test it together.
Okay.
Like one will create purchase order, the other user will create grn, the other user will create the invoice, the other
Correct.
user will run the vendor line item report. After that, another finance user will create the payment. All these things will be executed parallelly
Correct.
to complete the full process.
So the testing activities, how many month or days it will be take for all configuration testing
When you are doing UAT,
after?
it will be hardly 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, or 2 weeks, depending on the processes. You will split. When you're doing testing, accounts payable testing is 1 day or 2 days, accounts receivable testing is 1 day or 2 days, and you will be testing the whole day. You will have a conference
Okay.
room. On the conference room, you will have a projector. Project your laptop to the system so that whatever you are doing
Screen share.
is on the projection.
Okay.
Okay, different users will be sitting on it, and all the points whatever you are discussing will be captured. And you will also have one sheet called attendance sheet. Who are all the users
Correct.
present on that UAT? This one, you will prepare one attendance sheet. You'll have to take signature of all the users who were present on that UAT testing, and this
Correct.
attendance sheet will be documented.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now you will do UAT, you will do system integration testing, you will also do regression testing if required. After that, when it comes to user, let's understand a few points from this user roles. People are also asking these questions nowadays. User roles creation. Okay, now most of the projects are happening in which environment? ECC or S4 HANA?
Yes, for Anna.
S4 HANA. One is, one I'll call it as backend role. Second one I call it as front end role. How many roles we are writing? Two roles. These two at least you must be aware of it. If somebody is asking you in your interview or anywhere, you must be able to tell this. If you are not able to tell these roles, it is very clear that you have not worked. Now any backend role now valid in ECC and HANA, and front end role valid only on HANA. Okay. Now starts from Z FI star. This role starts from what? ZFI
ZF.
star. And this one starts from Z Fury underscore FI star. In short, your backend role is the normal role which will be used to access a transaction on SAP GUI screen. Here, if I want to access this screen, okay, F-43, if I want to access, this F-43 will be assigned in a particular role. If this is related to invoice posting, let's say we may create ZFI underscore INV underscore posting, something like this. Now, if you have this role assigned to your user ID, whatever the transaction codes are part of this role, you can access in SAP GUI screen. Okay, here you can assign. If you do not have the authorization, the moment you put the transaction code, you will get an error message at the bottom stating you are not authorized to use transaction
Right.
code. And
Correct, sir.
now let me try any T code. No, I think this is all. Test server will have access for everything. Or let me show you one thing. It's having the access. Has the access. It has got the access. Which ID I logged in? 05. Now it has got the access. Normally you will get a message at the bottom stating you are not authorized to use a particular transaction. Whatever the T code you type, that T code will appear at the bottom stating you are not authorized. That means that particular transaction related role is not assigned. You will have to find out which role gives authorization to a particular transaction. If this is the role, you have to assign this role to the user. Okay. For that, if you go to user profile SU01, I'll give my user ID AJ05. If I go to display here you will find something called roles. In this roles, you will find like this. What are the roles that are created? These are all SAP standard roles. That is why it starts from SAP. Now, if you see, these are cash manager, cash specialist. Based on the business process, different roles will be created. Now, in real time, all the roles that you are going to create, which will begin from Z followed by the module. If you are creating a role for FI module related, your role starts from what? ZFI star. If you are creating a role for CO module, how it will start? If you
ZCO
are
star.
creating a role for CO, ZCO star. Now anything that is directly starting from ZFI, ZCO, these are called as your back-end roles. Back-end role will allow you to access a particular screen. Okay. Now the other thing is your front-end role. When we talk about front-end role, this is valid only on S4 HANA. This will begin from zfury underscore module. If you're talking about FI module role, you're starting zfury underscore FI. You will have Fury screens like this. If you open this Fury Launchpad, now in real time, those who are using S4 HANA, all the users will be working on S4 HANA Fury screens, not on the GUI. In most of the companies, users will not have SAP logon pad. They will only have this link for SAP production, SAP quality. They will just come here. They don't need to remember the transaction code. They don't have to type in the T code.
They go through tiles, right?
Yes.
Favorite list.
So in the test environment, this Fury and all will work a little slower. So we need to have a little patience. But if you start using this regularly, this will work faster.
Sir, in Fiori, consultant and end user both are same screen
Same
or
screen,
different?
same.
Okay.
Okay, here normally what will happen, different icons will appear. I'll show once this comes up. This is taking time.
So can we switch it to SAP GUI?
Hmm?
Can we switch it into SAP GUI?
Here?
No, from S4, from Fiori to SAP GUI. Is it possible or not?
No, I've never tried that. Okay, we'll wait once this screen gets opened, I'll show. Or let me try once again. Proceed. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is how you will get the Fiori icons on your screen. These are all different catalogs that we call. If you want to pass any journal entry, you'll have to go to this journal entries catalog, click on this. This works slower. But once we start using this Fiori tiles on your system, this will work faster. It will load fast. Now here it will show different icons. It's still taking time to load all the icon descriptions. And for every screen, let's say if you're talking about F-02, this F-02 screen will appear on your Fiori screen like this. Post journal entries, manage journal entries, post cache journal, all this. Now, which tile to be reflected on a particular role is decided in the Fiori role, which is your front end role. In the Z Fiori star roles, you are going to design which tile to be part of it. Now, these Fiori roles, this catalog creation and all are part of SAP ABAP. In the ABAP, you will have Fiori consultants, they will do this. Okay. Now, when you click on this, it will open the screen. Let's say post journal entries. Now here you will find some transaction codes same like your GUI, some transactions which are exclusive Fiori specific. There will be no transaction code for it, but they will work only on the Fiori screen. If you see, this is a Fiori transaction code screen. You will not find this screen on your SAP GUI. Okay, let this load. Clear? Roles, you have two types of roles, backend role and then front end role. And it is your responsibility to get these roles created as a functional FICO consultant. You cannot say that no, I am not aware of it, I did not work on the roles. If you tell that, it's very clear that you have not worked on the project.
So we have to create roles on is that Fiori for use end users, right?
Correct. Because end users will be working on Fiori screens majoritarily, not on the GUI. It will be the same thing will reflect on the web page, nothing different. Nothing will change when you are working on Fiori. It's just that you are working on this traditional transaction code screen and there you are working on a web page. Otherwise, there is no change. The way you post everything is exactly the same.
Just they have given feasibility to work on work through mobiles and laptops and no pads, tablets like that, right?
Correct. But on the mobile and all, you're not going to post a transaction. That is only to view the reports, approve the request, majorly.
Okay.
Okay, it takes time. So this is how you're going to create the roles. And then once everything is fine, you will have to document everything. You will have to consolidate your configuration document, user manual, UT document, UAT document, integration testing document, role metrics, everything, along with very important thing, training sessions. What we need to do? You have to conduct a training session, which means if you are the one who worked on accounts payable, accounts receivable, you will have to give training to the client users, whoever the end users working in your client under accounts payable department or under accounts receivable department. You must conduct a training session either virtually or physically. If you are working in the client side, you will have to take all the users onto a conference room, put a projector, connect, prepare a document, whatever it is, and explain the process. Create and then explain the process. If you are doing virtually, send a meeting invite on the GoToMeeting. All the users will join the GoToMeeting. Share your screen, create all the processes, explain whatever the questions, queries that the users are asking, clarify all of their questions, queries. If you are not aware of any query, any question, make a note of it. Tell them that you will get back to them. Now remember this point. This is mandatory if you are working on a project. Now we are taking training. Tomorrow you have to give training. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
And when you
Yes.
are in any implementation project, if somebody is asking what is your roles and responsibilities in the project, all these points you'll have to talk. You've conducted a training sessions, you worked on role metrics, you worked on system integration testing, you prepared UT document, UAT document, configuration document, user manuals, all these points you'll have to tell. Because you cannot say you worked on business blueprint things, you prepared blueprint, because considering your experience, we will not be doing blueprint. So tell that you were part from the configuration onwards.
Sir, blueprint is a separate sub modules in separate blueprint or only one blueprint, sir, in real time.
For SAP FI one blueprint, within FI blueprint you will have separate categories, AP, AR and all, but there is no separate blueprint for AP, AR and all. One document for one module.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we are getting
I'll,
the information for configuration of vendors or customers or for the role creation from the client. So, like, who is the client, sir? Like, who is the representative of the client? Hello?
you'll have client side, you'll have client project manager. Okay, you will have client coordinator, you will have
Finance
core team members. Okay,
key user.
key users, power users, end users. We call it with different names.
Correct.
Okay, you are going to gather the information from core team members. Core team members are the members who will represent each module. If you're talking about FI, AP, one person will represent from CTM or core team member who is giving you the information or who is coordinating you on all the AP related things. And he will in turn discuss with key users, power users or end users who are actually working within the organization.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, power user are same as the super user. No?
correct.
Sir,
You're
Sir,
right.
core team member will separate account receivable, accounts payable, asset accounting. It is
Correct, correct. For each submodule wise, you will have one core team member, a
okay, sir.
responsible person for that area.
Okay, they will contact for core team member.
So he will be your point of contact for
Okay,
testing,
sir.
for any clarification, for any additional information. You will be following up with core team members.
Okay, sir.
That
Yeah.
is there any criteria that we have to assign the roles accordingly? Core team users, key users, power users, end users.
So all this
Yes,
information will be given to us by the
client.
client. When you do this BPML, this one,
Okay.
is it? When you do this one, the same file along with the screenshots, sorry, along with the transaction codes, you will copy as role matrix. Okay, user role matrix, and you will send this to the user, your client user,
Okay.
core team members, whosoever, they will test, sorry, they will put user. They'll put all the users. If they have 10 users or 20 users in accounts payable, they will only update this for 20 users. Let's say for user A, B, C, D, and so on. If they want vendor invoice creation, whoever needs, they put X. Whoever they don't need, they leave it blank.
Correct, sir.
So accordingly, whatever the user has this respective access, that access relevant role you have to assign. If later on somebody says no, this user is not able to access this transaction code, you will refer this sheet given by the client. You will tell no, in your role matrix file you did not mark this user for this access. Now they will send another request, please add this role for this user,
Okay.
because strictly authorization is given to the transaction which are part of your BPML. No other transaction will be accessed by the user which is listed in your BPML. If there is a T code not part of your BPML list, cannot be accessed by any user. And there is something called SOD. We call it as SOD conflict. Any idea what is SOD conflict?
No, sir.
Systematic operation segment.
Segregation of duties. Now I am supposed to create an invoice. Am I supposed to create payment?
No, sir. No.
No, right? If
No.
I have invoice and if I also have payment, then there is a SOD conflict. This is not correct. I'm
Okay.
not supposed to get authorization for both.
Okay.
Now, if somebody is asking you what is SOD conflict in your interview, you must be in a position to tell at least one line, at least the definition of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, could you please also explain the hierarchy of the SAP partner, as you mentioned, of the client?
SAP.
As you said now that there is a project manager, then like co-team, that from SAP partner, like from our team, what will be the hierarchy?
You will have same project manager from here. You will have project coordinator, and you will have team leads. Under that, senior
Senior consultant.
consultants, and then consultants. That's it. This I'll explain in detail when we are talking about the projects. We will talk in detail about what is your ASAP methodology, what exactly we will do, who will be there. Similarly, on Activate methodology, what we will do, who will be there. And we will talk from the FICO point of view only, so that you will be questioned only on that area. You have to know only that area first.
Sir,
Yes. Thank you, sir.
here Scrum Master or Project Coordinator both are different or same?
Different. Scrum and all is part of your activate methodology.
Okay. So
Okay,
this
it's
is
nothing but having a daily status call, you will call it, right?
okay.
The daily status call is nothing but your Scrum. The person who
Okay.
initiates it is called as a Scrum Master.
Okay. That which means
Sir, who is
conducting meetings.
schedule daily activities or consultant?
Daily activities of,
Hello,
yeah.
who schedule daily activities of consultant in real time implementation project? Uh, I my question is who which consultant what activities doing in this date, this month, this week?
So this is all decided by your project manager because they will have the detailed project plan, which is nothing but your project charter. Okay, they'll
They
have a
assign.
project charter.
Okay,
This project charter will have detailed activities with the timelines. At what stage you'll have to complete your configuration, at what stage you have to complete your unit testing, at what stage you have to complete your roles, at what stage you have to complete your training, at what stage you have to start your data migration or submit your cutover templates to the client. Accordingly,
correct.
they will assign the respective activities to the consultants. From the FI module, you are responsible. Let's say you are taking lead on the FI, you will have to ensure that everything is going according to the timelines. If you find any challenges through which we may not be able to achieve the targeted dates, we have to give a heads up so that we will inform the client upfront that because of these reasons, these activities may get delayed, maybe 1 or 2 days, but this will not hamper your go live date.
Sir, is my question is one consultant is only worked in account receivable, accounts payable, and asset account. It is possible. Uh,
No, it depends on the size of your project. If you're
project.
implementing one company code or if you're implementing 4 or 5 company codes, based on that, the headcount will be taken. So sometimes what we will do, you will take extra consultants during testing because one person cannot do the testing.
Yes,
During the testing phase, I will add 2 or 3 consultants, all the
correct.
junior consultants to assist you in closing the testing on time. Let's say while preparing the documentation. One person
Mm,
cannot complete the whole documentation within a week. I'll appoint or I'll assign 3 or 4 consultants, maybe who are on bench or who are junior resources.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, can we say the project manager is the scrum master?
Yes,
Okay, sir.
you can say.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, in every interview, I got a question. What is the challenge you face in implementation project? Sir, what is the answer for this question?
All the points that we have discussed, we'll have to talk. When you're doing testing, let's say requirement was different while testing, user came up stating that no, this is not the process that they are looking for. You had to do additional configuration. Okay. And while
Okay,
preparing
sir.
unit test documents, you found different issues. Especially from the customization point of view, you will find different challenges. Requirement may not be given
Correct.
correctly at the beginning, but later on, when you go for a testing, especially when you give a demonstration on the process, once you design the screen or whatsoever, they will come up stating, no, this is not we wanted. We wanted this to appear in this way. We want this to work in the other way. Now, certain changes are quick, you can accommodate. Certain changes will have to scrap the entire development that you have done, redo it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these kind of points you'll have to tell. At each stage, whatever you're doing, UT document, user manual preparation, user training, and each stage, whatever you're doing, you'll have to talk the points from this only. They are not expecting you to tell the issues that you faced as a whole of the project. In which activity, at which stage, what challenges you were facing. Let's
Yes.
say while conducting user training, you faced it, you found it very difficult. You can say that that was your first implementation project and you have been asked to give training to the users. I was conducting user training sessions, but I started receiving a lot of cross questionings for which I was not unable to answer for lot of the questions because it was my first implementation and I had less experience. You can tell all this openly because this is what is going to happen when you are working in a project, when you are giving training session to a user, because
Yes, sir.
the users are not aware what has been discussed by the management, why this way it has been configured. User will tell no, if I put this automatically it has to come. You cannot say okay, I will do it, right? Because user is not aware why system is working like this and why you did not put if I press account number and then enter automatically it will have to pick the other options, and he will ask you, can we do like this, can you make it like this for me? So you have to answer all those queries in a smart way, and how you are going to answer matters a lot. You can tell all these points because this is what is going to happen when you work in a project. The same thing you'll have to talk as if this is what you have done, this is what is your understanding issues, this is what is the struggles that you faced. That is what they want to hear from you, that nothing was straightforward, you had to struggle. Tell your problems, issues that you actually face. Now while we are talking, is everything clear? No, right? Everything is creating a question mark in your mind. What is this, what is this?
No, sir.
Yes.
Right? Now the similar way you will get confused when you're in a project. Now here we can ask, we can discuss, we can clarify whatever we want collectively. If I know, I will tell you. If the other person knows, they will tell you. But when you are in a project, you cannot ask openly like this. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Even if you're not aware, you have to act as if you're aware of it. So first thing that you'll have to do is you have to know how to manage on the things that you are not aware of, on the things that you have not worked before. So that is your consulting skill. No rule that you have to know everything, no rule that you have to work on everything, no rule that you have to remember everything.
Correct.
But yes, you have to know how to handle the situation in a smooth way. If you are able to
Yes, sir.
handle that, you will survive everywhere that you go. Okay,
Yes.
that skill is what we have to develop, not config, nothing. It's a never ending thing. Config and all is never ending thing. Screen remains the same, setting is same, but the expectation is different. Some clients will ask you things which are not possible. Some clients will ask you which are possible with huge effort.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I am attended two times in PwC with 4 years of experience. The was too tough, and they ask only scenario-based question and only controlling, direct from controlling.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Right. When you show experience, nobody is going to ask you straight questions. Everything is scenario based only. And you don't need to explain the answer correctly. If you are able to interact with them on that scenario, that is fine. You will get selected. But give them a confidence that whatever they are talking, you are aware of it. Don't tell the whole story. Talk to the point that they are asking. Only related to that you have to talk. Otherwise, upfront accept. that you have not worked on it, but in your opinion or in your understanding, this is what it could be. And don't tell that you have not worked on it, you are not aware of it. You have not worked on it does not mean you do not know about it. You must be knowing at least a few points about it.
Yes, sir.
Talk
Definitely, sir.
only those few points according to your understanding. You can tell that I have not worked on this, I have not come across this requirement or this scenario before, but according to my understanding or as per my knowledge, this works in this manner. We will be using this functionality for this purposes. But most of the people will tell that no, I have not worked on it, I am not sure. These kind of things they will tell, they'll keep quiet. But in fact, I don't know, you have not worked on anything that you are also aware, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
In fact, I know that you have not worked on anything. So why to act when this is the open secret between you and me? Don't put anything on your mind. I'll not put anything on my mind. I am only going to check your process understanding. If I find you are confident enough, you are able to answer, convince me, I am fine with you. Because tomorrow you are not going to work with me. Tomorrow you are going to work with the client. If you are able to
Correct.
talk, if you are able to convince me on the interview, you will be able to talk, you will be able to convince your client. Just check if you are able to talk confidently, if you are able to convince the other person. At least put an effort. You
Yes, sir.
need not be
Sir,
correct.
in interview,
Yeah.
sir, interview points of view, can I tell to interviewer I'm involved in 4 years of experience. I involved in two implementation project. I am and work in account receivable, accounts payable, and asset accounting. Both only three submodules. Can I tell to interview in?
You can tell.
Uh,
You can tell. Not every consultant will work on everything. It will be module based only, sub-module based only. If you work on any big companies, you will not be working on everything. If you work 8 years, you may be working 8 years only on asset accounting, 8 years only on banking, 8 years only on APAR, 8 years only on taxation. That is also possible.
okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I am working.
Hello, sir. My question is regarding the posting period variant, that is OB52. Okay.
Okay.
Is it possible to save changes in OB52 without TR in
Yes.
production environment?
Yes.
How can we do this? Is there any configuration regarding this or any nodes to be implemented?
No, this is from the basis side. If you go to SCC4, if you open your client, here you have automatic recording of changes.
But the requirement is like in production, only the OB52 changes are to be done without recording changes in production. That means
That I am talking
when
about production only.
okay,
Okay, your basis consultant will do this activity. So your production, whatever you do, will not open a TR. Even if it
okay,
opens a TR, they can exclude certain transactions where this changes will be recorded. This is the basis activity. You have to inform your basis consultant.
okay. And another question is like posting period variant can this posting period can be open for only one day or is it like on monthly basis it is available? Hello.
One sec. Let me open this. Yes,
Okay.
this is monthly basis, not a daily basis.
Okay. In my last project, the go live date was 1st November. Okay. But the
Okay.
requirement from the IOC team, that is the utility, they
Hmm.
require to post their arrears on the last month of the last date of the earlier month. So that's why they
Okay.
require the posting period to be open for only one day.
Previous month to be opened for 1 day.
Yes, last date of the month.
One sec. Now you are on April month. They want March to be opened for 1 day. Is this correct?
Yes, this is the scenario.
Here you can simply put a validation. You can simply write a validation. You can write a validation. What you will do, you will put May to April opened. May will be opened, April will be opened. April is open for all users. So this is not May, this is March, right? March. April is open for all users. March is open for selected users, which we update in our validation. So you can literally restrict who can post in March month. The other users will get a message that you define.
For this,
You,
there is any standard process,
no standard. This is a simple validation you can write as a FICO consultant without any technical help.
but
So
where
5-minute
is the
activity.
uh, is there any specific position where we can write this?
You know how to write a validation?
No, no. Actually, this kind of validation was done by other department, so that's why I want to know it.
What you can put, you'll put your company code as prerequisite. Okay.
Okay.
And you'll put period in a set. You'll create a set, and in this set you will maintain closed periods. What you will maintain? Closed periods. Now you will maintain another set, user, in a different set. Now this user will get exception. Now let's say if I put closed period as March, and if I give user as Mr. ABC, and you have another user Mr. XYZ. If ABC tries to pass an entry in March, system allows. If XYZ tries to pass an entry in March, it declines.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
All
this
right. Any other
validation
question?
can override any configuration, right?
All right. Validation is checked at the time of posting. So if the condition is not met, it will not allow you to proceed further unless you meet the validation criteria.
So in
Validation is
Google I
substitution
come
is
across
two
one
parts.
scenario.
No, these things will let's talk once we are on this topic, because others will get unnecessary confusions, because we are only talking about basic overview. Okay, so when we are on this topic, we'll talk in detail with practical scenarios of different validations.
Just one small question, sir. I come across one scenario like the PO and the GR price was different. Like PO was raised for 100 rupees, and at the time of GR it was 110. Is it possible in real time? Like we don't
Yes,
have a
you
field
have
for amount in GR.
you have something called price difference. When you do your FIMM integration, you will have something called PRD, price difference.
This will be applicable at the time of invoice, right? But in GR we don't have a field for amount.
GR, it will come directly from your purchase order.
Yes, like the question was the PO was raised in one amount and the GR was raised in another amount. Is it possible? Because we can't manipulate the GR amount at the time of LIGO.
Correct. Now, whatever the GR that the customer, sorry, that the supplier had supplied, for that GR only he is going to give you the material, sorry, the invoice.
It is only possible if the quantity is manipulated, then the amount would be different, right?
The point that you said is possible if you are valuating the material with standard price. There are two price indicators in your material master, standard and moving average.
Yes, yes, yes.
Let's say you created PO for a material for 100 rupees and GRN is posted for 110. Is this what your scenario?
Yes.
Now, this all
No,
depends on your material master price.
correct.
Let's say if I
Even
maintain material master prices 110. Now PO I am creating for 100. So what system will do? Your material is always valuated with standard price of the material master. It will debit
correct.
for 110 and it will take GRIR to the extent of your purchase order. Difference between your GRIR and your inventory will go to price difference, either
Price
debit or
difference.
credit.
Correct.
Okay. If we have maintained moving average price, then it's not possible.
With moving average price, there is no price difference except the scenario where there is no stock. If there is no stock in your material, only then it will take to the price difference. Otherwise, your difference is adjusted to the available stock.
This price difference will come into picture at the time of invoice, right? In GR, do we have this price difference account?
Which difference?
This price difference PRD will come into picture at the time of invoice.
No, no, no. At the time of GR and also it will come. If you are using material as a standard price.
Okay.
Okay, if we have the clear scenario, it is easy for us to understand because when you are in a real environment, you will get different scenarios. If you are able to understand the scenario, automatically we will get to know the concept. All right, let me stop this just a minute.
Sir, what